Let's get over it. I keep going that way. Okay, so this is going to be Q&A number one test at 120, and the proper names are Tulsa, Prestolite, Wagner, Vickers, Curtis, Emily, Shannon Maxwell, Boulder Park, and Dr. Maxwell. Oh. Where?
In Tulsa, on and off, maybe 4 years. I was laid off at one point and recalled back, and during that time I was laid off. I worked for Prestolite in Wagner, and then I was called back and worked at they changed their name to Vickers and worked there. So roughly 4 years with that company.
And when did you last work?
My last day of work was in August of 1986.
And what was your average salary at that time?
Roughly 30,000 a year.
And why did you quit working?
At the time, I was having difficulties with a boss, but the discussion between my husband and I was that I would quit and would stay home with my child at that time. Curtis was not even 2 years old.
And you have two children now?
Yes, I do.
And what are their ages?
Curtis is 5 and Emily is 16 months old tomorrow.
And how long have you and your husband been separated?
Since July.
July of 1990?
Correct.
Since that time, have you looked for employment anywhere?
No, I have not.
And why is that, ma'am?
Basically, two reasons. I had quit a job, determined I was going to stay home with my children and raise them for the time that I could. And the other reason, because the divorce pending, I needed the stability, or they needed the stability of me to be home with them until things were, somewhat completed and finalized.
Is it your testimony today that you are not even going to look for any employment until the divorce is over?
It is my testimony that I feel I need to be with my children at this time for them, and that no, I do not plan to look for employment until it's over with.
If you were to look for employment, would you be capable of being employed at this time?
At this time,
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
And capable of earning 30,000 a year.
I would assume that. I don't know.
Well, let's say more than 20,000 a year.
Probably
Have any doctors, psychiatrist, or any person advised you not to look for work?
no,
Has any professional advised you not to look for work?
no.
The decision to stay with your kids until the divorce is over is purely your decision.
Basically, yes.
Are the children seeking any counseling now?
No,
Have they, since the separation, sought counseling?
yes.
And who did they seek counseling with?
Shannon Maxwell.
And what does she do? Is she a psychologist, a psychiatrist, social worker?
A counselor. I don't
You don't know her formal title.
know.
Who does she work with?
She works at Boulder Park.
When did you start taking Curtis there?
I believe it was in September.
September of 1990?
Correct?
And what was the purpose of taking Curtis to Boulder Park?
Because he, I felt, needed some help with aggression. After his father moved out and things were proceeding, he had a lot of aggression, a lot of anger, and he needed help.
And how often did Curtis go to Dr. Maxwell?
He was going once a week.
And when did he quit going to Dr. Maxwell?
I believe he went 8 times.
And why did he stop going?
He seemed to be doing fine.
How about the younger child? How is the younger child doing?
At 16 months old, I feel she's doing fine.
So you feel that Curtis and Emily, is that the younger child's name?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So next will be your Q&A test number 2 at 120 words a minute. Proper names are Arthur Nolan, Sausalito Street, Century City, Southland, Mission Bay, Randolph, Rent-A-Cabin, Randolph Boulevard, Hemorrhaging, and Tourniquet. Will you please state your name for the record?
Arthur Nolan,
What is your address, sir?
409 Sausalito Street, Century City.
Is it your recollection that an accident occurred on September 25, 1996?
Yes,
And on that particular day, you were in the Southland with your wife and children on vacation?
yes. We came in from Mission Bay in a rented car.
I assume on that particular day you were looking for lodging for the evening,
That is right.
and you had stopped in front of the Randolph Rent-A-Cabin.
Yes, we had noticed the place and stopped. I went in to ask if they had some rooms available.
Do you recall where you stopped your automobile?
Well, we stopped right in front of the entrance.
Where were your wife and children?
They were in the car.
In other words, then you parked right in front of the lodge on the south side of the street.
Well, it would be right on the same side as the entrance. Would that be the south side?
I believe so. You were on Randolph Boulevard.
Yes, right.
Then you went into the lobby of this hotel or motel.
I went into the lobby to the desk to ask if they had some rooms available.
Now, as you entered the apartment, can you describe how you entered the lobby?
I went through the door and went inside. I was looking for the office.
Can you describe those doors for us?
It is an ordinary door. I don't remember if it was open or closed, but I just went in and looked for the office.
Well, specifically, were there wooden doors or glass? Do you recall what the composition was?
I believe it was a glass door.
More than one door?
I can't remember.
And were these automatic doors, or do you recall if you opened these doors, or how did you enter?
Either I opened the door or the door was open and I went in. I don't remember.
Do you recall if you used the left or right door, or if you used more than one when you entered?
I don't recall.
So you went into the lobby and spoke to some employee.
There was a girl behind the desk, and I remember that I asked her if she had some rooms. I believe she called the manager to ask for something and then told me they had 2 rooms. So I registered. I believe I registered, and she gave me the keys to the rooms and told me I had to take the car around the block and drive in from the side.
And then what happened?
Well, I was carrying the keys and walking in the direction of the car. I was walking at my usual pace, and all of a sudden I was stunned by crashing glass. It appeared to me as if the whole wall of glass collapsed. Before I knew it, I was hemorrhaging severely. I could see a pool of blood on the floor. I was just standing there, and I saw my wife opening the car door, running in, and she took off her belt when she saw the heavy bleeding and put sort of a tourniquet around my forearm and attempted to stop the bleeding.
Do you recall if you entered or exited through that doorway more than once before the accident?
No, I did not exit. I just went in once. I did not go back in again.
Do you recall if